Carolyn Holzman, and this is Confessions of an SEO. This is where I'm sharing my experiences in SEO, both as an SEO and an SEO tester. The purpose behind this podcast is not to teach you SEO, but to bring SEOs together with the businesses that they serve to experience a more reasonable balance of power. Yes, the business writes the check, but the investment is in their business. And the professional SEO learns how to rank through the science of how Google works. And to do that effectively, it means an investment of time and money on our part because Google keeps their cards close to their chest. So if you're an independent or agency SEO, I definitely get you. I was also a local business owner of a CD and DVD duplication studio for a long time. And I understand trying to understand better. And oftentimes the only tool that we knew as business owners was micromanaging and cost estimates. So my advice, stay receptive. No matter how smart you are, no matter what your title, you are not an SEO. Welcome to Season 3, Episode 21 of Confessions of an SEO, Mountain Edition 2023, and it's raining. Before we get started for SEOs out there, I want to let you know that I published a guide to the inspection tool crawlers. Those are the new bot crawlers that Google released mid-May. And in that article, along with that guide, is a story about the run-up to the GA4 changeover and how that looked in server logs. I'll put the link in the description. Let me know what you think and feel free to pass it along to others. I haven't ever spoken previously about this topic as a separate topic, so here goes. An ethics code in SEO. So how do we know what is ethically the responsibility to our clients? What does it look like? I mean, I think we understand to a certain level, but it's always vague and it's very different for everybody. You know, for instance, how are we going to do this as an industry if we all together can't even tell the difference between being indexed and being served? So if our understanding of the landscape of Google is solely dependent on Google announcements and documents, all the while knowing we do understand how much they obfuscate what they do, right? So they don't make it entirely clear to us exactly what they do. And all of this has a direct impact on us and our clients and our projects. So does the combination of that, does all that release us from the obligation to strive to have a professional distinction as an SEO? Is it too high a bar for us as professional SEOs to know the truth for ourselves when it comes to what happens in the search results, regardless of what a Google tool tells us? Yeah, if you suspected, this actually probably is going to be a rant episode. I am fully guilty of wanting all of us to be better, and that's me included. So maybe wanting us all to be our best doesn't necessarily mean that we are all the best, right? So just so you understand, there's good doctors, right? There's mediocre doctors, and probably far more at that level than there are excellent doctors. So I guess why should SEO as a field of endeavor not be subject to the same conditions? Other industry have standards. Lawyers have to take a test to be able to practice. Plumbers have to be licensed. The SEO industry doesn't really have that. Like I said before, there are bad people in every industry. I'll grant you that. But I think more often there are people who just aren't very good. They may be passable, but they're not malicious. And I'm reminded of something I heard in the hospital. There's a term for medical students who make Ds. Doctors. But at least they have schools. So given that a lot of professions, most of them have had at least 100 years on them. SEO is not one of them because, we're talking somewhere between 25 and 30 years, right? So like thinking at medicine, electricity, plumbing, roofing. I think things like teaching and construction probably have multiple hundreds, if not thousands of years. And we've come up with a built-in way to introduce when a field has a new breakthrough, right? And we call them usually continuing education courses. So when things improve in a profession, practitioners can come and gather up the latest findings and incorporate that into their work. But SEO seems to be different. And I'm going to leave out all the reasons why, because none of us have time for an episode that long. But internally, as an industry, I'm going to use this as an example. We can't even speak with precision on the process of indexation. Ask me how I know. Now, there are business people who go into Facebook and they ask to be told the strategy of ranking their client locally for free and publicly so the whole world can see, as if it's their God-given right as a business owner to ask for and receive what has taken professionals years to become facile in developing. And that expertise should be paid for. Now, I find it hard to imagine an attorney going online and asking, hey, I've got this guy accused of murdering his wife, but I need to get him acquitted. What type of defense strategy would do that for me? That would likely be against the code of ethics to accept a case as an attorney in a capital case and not be prepared to come up with your own damn strategy, much less post about it publicly. And they probably wouldn't want potential clients seeing that they were so clueless either. So why do SEOs, agencies, and businesses do this? Like those before me who helped me when I was getting started, I'm all for paying things forward and helping people on things like Facebook or Twitter, things like that. But there is a line. And in my thinking, it's an ethical line, much like a doctor won't prescribe treatment or medication without an examination. I think neither should an SEO of any level of expertise publicly and for free outline a solution. I think we should value our experience and knowledge and be able to know, it's our responsibility. What I'm trying to say is it's our responsibility to know when we hit that line and deal with it with professionalism and kindness. Now, going back to that topic of indexation, as an industry, we can't even agree whether or not it's our job as SEOs to get content for our clients, not just indexed in terms of what Search Console says, but to the point of being findable by a keyword, which is the only way our clients can create an ROI for the content that they paid for. Maybe I'm blessed, or yeah, I guess I am. I was actually going to think I am sort of biased because I've been sitting on this shore watching these waves. But I think we as SEOs have a duty to understand the process, whatever it is that we're looking at, beyond what Google developer documents say. And I'm using air bunnies for the quotes around that. I think there are a lot of SEOs out there that don't even know what is possible. Like they don't know that it's possible for a page to be designated as indexed in Search Console. And they don't know that that content is not findable by its keywords. So how ethical is it to not be willing to get the content that we as SEOs publish for our clients on their own damn site to be findable by desired keywords? But as long as Search Console says it's indexed, are we off the hook? Really? Are we? How ethical is it to put out a shingle, call ourselves SEO agencies or consultants, and not wrestle with that challenge that if we're being paid to be their SEO company, what's a reasonable level of responsibility? How ethical is it to accept an SEO client and then go onto Facebook and ask for how to do that? Yeah, that happens. And in a depressing way, it happens a lot more than it should, in my opinion. I understand getting started requires something to be first, which is why in other fields, I think the concept of apprenticeship is how that's handled. If there isn't a specific educational training, even then being book smart is one thing. Practicing it live is another. which is, I think that's why doctors are interns first, and they have to work their way up to practice medicine without supervision, right? Now, granted, that's life and death. It makes sense. For myself, looking back, I had the luxury of being my own first client. I also set up an affiliate site to practice on before I tried it with my business site. And the same thing, once I started taking clients in one at a time, pricing was another way. I didn't charge thousands of dollars and I didn't promise the world. I was honest with them initially. And well, I would say still, but it would be basically saying, give me 6 months. And if I can't change anything significant for you, you're not obligated to go any further. Like I say, I'm still honest, but now I bring a lot more experience and, I daily work on my craft. The skill to know what I'm looking at and the willingness to take something in that's new. But I know, without a doubt, I would chop my arm off before I would sell a package to a client that I hadn't strategy tested beforehand. I call that SEO as a sport when I do it for things that are kind of fun, but they're all learning experiences that I take to other projects. So if I can improve things without having access to a site, how cool is that? And if I have to create a new site to get it live in SERPs to test a strategy, well, that's just the cost of my education. That's our continuing education. We don't have to wait for someone to tell us a step-by-step, and we can just start to do it and find out ourselves firsthand without requiring all the lights to be green before we take action. I guess, if we're not going to have an outwardly prepared set of ethics and standards presented to us by some outside organization, maybe as a professional distinction, we should adopt our own, both with our own work product, but also with our behavior when we're representing our industry, whether it's in a client's office, at conferences, or speaking with our peers. They say character is what you do when no one is watching. Well, I think when it comes to SEO, no one is watching. But yet at some point, we've all had to pay the price of those SEO hacks who were good at selling, but lousy at taking care of the businesses who trusted them with the sale. So what do you think? Well, that's it for this week. Check out Crawl or No Crawl Reports on YouTube for new findings in the ongoing indexation research. Thank you to the supporters of Confessions. Thank you for being a listener. Please come back and bring a friend. If you would like to support this podcast and the research, become a monthly sponsor. And you can do it for less than the cost of a fancy cup of coffee. Or leave a review on Spotify. If you can't do one, please do the other. It's been my pleasure to be with you today, and I will see you in the SERPs.